All right, octave shapes has now been discussed. Now we're going to talk about the 6 same notes that exist within 12 frets of each other. And we're going to use those concepts of the octave shapes to spot those, okay? Now, the one octave shape I didn't talk about, and it really isn't an octave shape because it's a double octave, is that any note that's played on the high E is the same note on the low E. And I can spot an octave shape inside there. Right? So I have 2 octave shapes. 3 strings, 4 strings, okay? But let's just take a look at, let's say, the F, all right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this note, and this note, and this note. 3. I got 3 notes, right? All Fs. Then I'm gonna grab this octave shape. That's set 2 of 3 strings each, right? Here's set 1 of 4 strings. Here's set 4 of 3 strings. Here's set 2 of 3 strings. Here's set 2 of 4 strings. And here's set 3 of 3 strings. So how many did I have? I had 6. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After this, I'm back to repetition. Now, why would that be an advantage to you to have that knowledge? Well, as you know, in Volume 2, we're starting to look at 3-string, simple, major and minor shapes. And in this volume, we're going to start wrapping scale patterns around these guys. But just think about this. When I'm playing this chord, which is A major, and I'm using the F shape and the E shape at the same time, how many roots do I have in that shape? I have 3. I have 1 here on the high E. I have 1 here on the 4th string, and I have 1 here on the low E. So I've got 1 on the high E, 1 on the D string, and 1 on the low E string. 3 roots in one shape. Now, as a traditional guitar player, if you learn chord shapes, you do not know that. You don't. You're only aware of this low note as being the root, because if I play bar chords, I played G to A, and D, and this is always my root with my first finger trapping the root, okay? Why do I bring that up? Because if it's not your habit to know those other 2 roots, you're never thinking about them. And if you haven't built it as a habit to know those other 2 roots, you just don't know those other 2 roots. Oh, you may know they're there, but how often do you access them, to utilize them, to have them become something that you would access? See where I'm coming from? It's called habit, all right? And I'll guarantee you, when I first learned, this wasn't shown to me, okay? How I learned, and I was taught how to understand chords, was basically, Phil, your first finger's where the root is all the time. Can you play chords without roots? Sure, that's doable. That is taught too. You can do that. But you're not going to see that if you're just an intermediate guitar player. You're going to be going into some advanced theory when you're doing that. And how many years had you been playing before you discovered that? See, I'm talking about knowing this stuff almost from the beginning. So if it's part of your thought process from the beginning, it becomes part of your skill set. And when it's part of your skill set, you get better at it quicker, and you gain mastery over the neck faster. Had to grab a pick? Check it out. What if I want to play an F here? Well, that's not a big deal. Everyone does that, right? But what if I want to play F here, right? Using the D shape. Does everyone do that? Sure. Do they know what they're doing? I'd say some of the guys who do that would definitely know what they're doing. Or they're just learning because it's just part of a song, and that song became something that they learned, and eventually they may go, oh, yeah, I know that. But how well? How well do you know that? That's the skill set that this series gets you into a better awareness. See, if I know my octave shapes and I know how these chords are designed, I can jump to different areas. That's an F. Here's an F. Here's an F. You know, here's an F. There's an F. Another F. Traditional bar chord, right? Here's another F. Yeah, traditional bar chord. Where's the root? It's on the 5th or 6th string with the first finger. All those other ones, not necessarily. I'm using the E shape to play that. I'm not playing the whole chord all over 6 strings. Just like when I was up here playing an F, I'm just using my first finger and barring 3 notes. Or I'm just grabbing notes around it to solo, but I'm grabbing an F in a way that I can do that. If I grab an F like this, I could maybe solo back here, but what am I doing? If I just learn this, and I just learn this, I'm trapping myself and not knowing those other places to play. And that's what knowing 3-string chord shapes, major and minor, and knowing octave patterns, and then spotting different places to jump to, aids you into becoming a better guitar player. At least that's what I've experienced. And I hope that was something that maybe gave you some motivation to see, oh, this is why I'm doing it. You know, if I play this, I'm playing an F. I don't need to play a root 3 and 5 to play an F. I could play the root in 3, I could play the root in 5 and make it a power chord. But I have more options when I learn what I've learned that's in these books than I did when I first learned to play chords separately and then learn my scales separately apart from my chords. When you learn your chords and your scales completely separated from each other, you don't see that entwining, you don't see that organic whole that these chords and scales have with each other. And man, that opens the neck up. That really changes stuff. It changes the dynamics, and you really over time feel so much more aware, and you just feel more confident about what you have access to and what you can do. So I hope that was helpful for you. Hey, leave comments. I would love to get feedback. And if you guys know of any other place that is showing stuff like this, I know they're out there, let me know. I would love to hook up with them and start doing some cross-connecting to help each other's websites out. So this is all about helping people get to be better guitar players in the long run. And I think that's an honorable goal. So take care, and we will see you in the next vids. We're on to wrapping scale patterns around chord shapes now. This is our next video series that we'll be jumping into. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Again, I'm Phil Olson. To purchase the Awesome Guitar series, click on the link below. It'll take you to Amazon. You can see full descriptions of each one of the volumes. After you've made your purchase and you receive them, go home and practice.